Oh, I get to bang it. Okay, so I'd like to call to order this special called meeting of the Finance Administration and Economic Development Committee. Sarah, do you want to call the roll? Make sure we're all alive.
Councilmember Reeds? Absent. Councilmember Brown?
Here.
Councilmember Cunningham?
Present.
Councilmember Howard?
Here.
Councilmember Glover is absent. Councilmember Bartholomew?
Here.
Councilmember Dawson?
Here.
Vice Chair McEllen is absent. Chairman Passament?
Present.
Committee Vice Chair Tabernick?
Present.
You have a quorum.
All right, thank you. So we'd like to do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public notification of this meeting has been published, posted, and distributed in compliance with South Carolina Freedom of Information Act. So I'd like a motion to approve the agenda, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Passman. Second,
Second.
I'll second that.
Ms. Brown. All in favor of approving the agenda?
Aye.
Otherwise, you have to leave. Okay, citizen comment period. Do we have any comments? Citizens signed up for comment?
No, ma'am, we do not.
Okay, thank you. We will now have our Assistant County Administrator report by Dale Butts. Hello, Mr. Butts.
Hello, Ms. Tabernick, members of the committee. How's everyone?
We're just great.
Thought it would be a great time for you guys to get a brief update from our assessor, Ms. Ebony Sanders. We've gone through the reassessment, tax bills have gone out, people have paid their taxes, at least we hope they have. So I've asked her to come and give you an update of where that department is at this point in time, and she can do that better than I can. So Ebony, I'll turn it over to you.
Have you taken off your travel shoes, Ebony? Because you did so many, forums.
Ma'am, I have a couple more scheduled in the month, so.
Well, many thanks for doing all those for our residents.
Thank you. Appreciate you giving me the opportunity to kind of give you an update of what's going on. So the reappraisal went off, we went through it, we got through it. December the 11th was the last day for our taxpayers to appeal their valuations. And a big kudos I would like to give to my staff. They're a great group of people. I have two wonderful deputies, a great group of, from all our staff members. Of the 133,000 assessment notices that we sent out to our taxpayers, for this reassessment, and I'll say that, I'm gonna give you the number first, and then I'm gonna tell you why this is so unique. We received 3,063 appeals as of December the 11th. That's historical for Beaufort County and any countywide quadrennial reassessment. Our 2018 reassessment, we received 11,763 appeals. So I will tell you that that's a 17% increase from 18. I kind of give you an idea of what that volume looks like. So it's historical, and I'm glad to give given the opportunity by Dale to kind of share that with everyone. With regards to our quadrennial reassessment, we have about 1,500 left to review. Most of those appeals came in December, right before the deadline, so our appraisers are diligently going through those. So we received 75% of the assessment notices that we sent out. 75% of our properties received a cap. So most of our property owners benefited from the capping. So that does help with the number of appeals that we do receive. Since 1998, it's been legislation change, and that's when that's a historical amount, those numbers that we see today. We did 15 community engagement events, and the community engagement events is when our staff went out to the different areas around the county. We utilize our county libraries, and I want to thank them for making those accommodations for us. We did 15 of those, and personally, I've done 38 reassessment presentations so far, not counting a couple I have to do into this month. To give you an idea about legal residency, I know it's a hot topic for a lot of you. So far, we received 8,500 applications. And what we're working currently is the ones that we received in the month of November, December, and January. The deadline for applying for legal residency, it was January the 16th. So just in those 3 months, we've seen about 15,000 legal residency applications of the 8,500. Good news about our transfer department within the assessor's office. We received about 12,000 transfers. That's down about 16% from last year. Last year, we received 14,000 transfers. So that can kind of give you some idea when we start giving those numbers over for growth. We're down about 16% in the number transferred. Now, as an appraiser with appraisal background, I'm contributing that to what we know is going on with a mortgage and lending and those type of things. So in our area, we at 12,000. Our ladies in the transfer department in our office, they've reviewed all of them, actually. All the transfer has been reviewed. So our next step is to determine the valuation of those and see if they're ATIs or not. So you will get those numbers and your projections coming in the next month, couple of months. That's all I have.
That's really good information. 75% of the properties benefited from the 15% cap.
Yes, ma'am. You're right. You're correct.
Interesting. Anybody have a question for Ms. Sanders?
I got a comment.
Yes, Mr.
Ebony,
Bassett.
you did 2 presentations in my district, and I thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
I just want to say thank you again for your patience, and working with the public was outstanding again. So,
Can appreciate
Which is
it.
obviously a tribute to the fact that we only have, you said a little over 3,000 challenges to what their new taxes are, so
Correct.
that is monumental.
Yes, out of the 133,000 assessment notices that went out, we received a little 3,063 to be exact.
And you're still smiling after all of this.
Always.
Good job.
Thank you.
Any other
Ebony, I would
question?
also like to say thank you for helping 2 of my constituents as
Oh,
well.
you're welcome.
You
You're
know what
welcome.
those were.
I have a good team, so I just want to say thank you for them. Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
thank you.
That's it, Mr. Betts? All right, thank you. All right, going on to item number 7 on the agenda. We have a presentation and discussion of the 2% state A-tax accommodation tax with Denise Christmas and Christine Webb.
Hi.
Hello, Ms. Webb.
Hello. Okay, so first, I want to update you on some finance items since our last finance meeting. We provided training to staff on the new accounts from the charter account conversion. And also, if any of you want any assistance or any training on that, just let us know, and we can set something up. And we provided training over proper revenues and expenditures, which will help out a lot for the new budget coming up. And we completed the fiscal year 2023 external audit on time by December 31st. And you'll be hearing from our external auditor, Lona Jenkins, later on at the council meeting tonight. Okay, so we've been very busy and we are progressing.
It's a busy time for you.
Thank you. Okay, so we wanted to give you an update on the accommodations and hospitality tax. And I'm Christine Webb, Director of Compliance, and this was created by Bryson Campbell, our senior accountant. Okay. Where is it? I did. Okay, so here is where I just put links to the state statute for the state 2%, because I know it can be very confusing between all of them. So the state 2%, the local 3%, and the local 2% hospitality tax. Okay, for the state 2%, South Carolina Department of Revenue provides 2% allocation to counties for the revenues and expenditures. Basically, the section is 1235-720 specifically states how counties must allocate. So the first 25,000 to general fund and the 5% to general fund and 30% to DMOs, which are Greater Beaufort Port Royal Convention Visitors Bureau and Hilton Head Bluffton Chamber of Commerce. And then 65% remaining balance must be used for tourism-related expenditures. And we must appoint an advisory committee, not less than 5 members, which we elected to have 7. Okay, so the state 2% aid tax balances, so here's the current status. The current cash balance is about 1.08 million. And the committee has brought a motion for approval of awards in amount of 1 million, and if approved, the balance will be 87,000. The first quarter of revenue has been received in about 477,000. And the second quarter is due to be received next week. Okay, the second quarter revenue will be added toward the current balance less awards. Then the 150 could be used for affordable housing if you choose to also. Okay, so here's the local aid tax, which Beaufort County is allowed to charge an additional 3%. For the expenditures, they must be used for tourism-related projects and programs as defined, as specific in this section 61530, basically tourism-related buildings, facilities, beach access, lands and water access, highways, roads, streets, bridges, advertisement and promotions, water and sewer, workhouse, affordable workhouse housing, and operation of maintenance of items above, including police, fire, EMS, and emergency operations. Okay, for Beaufort County's code, our local aid tax ordinance, the allocations must be for funding the operating expenditures up to 8% and allocating a total of $350,000 to the designated organizations, which is Greater Beaufort, Port Royal CVB, Hilton Head, Bluffton Chamber of Commerce, and Beaufort County Black Chamber of Commerce. And we also have 20% reserved for emergencies and 20% for River Beach access and nourishment. And then the 60% remaining for tourism-related items, as defined in the section 61530. Okay, for the local 2% hospitality tax, Beaufort County is allowed to charge an additional 2% in local hospitality tax. The expenditures, the proceeds must be used for tourism-related projects, the same as 61530, in addition to flooding and drainage within tourism-related lands or areas. So per our local ordinance, we fund the operating expenditures up to 8% and allocate the remaining through the county's annual budget process. And county council can make emergency appropriations. Okay, so here is the current status of the local aid tax fund, 2001 as of 1/16. 1.06 million revenue has been received and 627,000 expenses to date. And we transfer 8% of the revenues for quarters 1 and 2 to the general fund. And we made the payments for quarters 1 and 2 to Hilton Head Bluffton Chamber, 75,000, and Greater Beaufort Port Royal, 75,000, and Beaufort County Black Chamber of 25,000. And below is just the current stance for the ending fund balance right now is 4.852. That's without reserving the 40% reserves and transferring the remaining 8% to general fund. Okay, the status of the local H tax fund, 2002. We had 1.18 million revenue and 177,000 expenses to date. We transfer 8% of the revenue for quarters 1 and 2, about 91,000. And below, we have the ending fund balance of 2.409 without transferring the remaining 8% to general fund. Okay, so here's where we want your opinion and your thoughts on how to use these local aid tax and H tax funds. So the first one is just continue the award process and utilize funds internally for Beaufort County projects. Funds will be programmed into the county budget, and the procurement process would ensure that funds are used in compliance with applicable laws to benefit all of Beaufort County residents. Or discontinued the new grant cycle for this 2024 year to allow finance to develop a more comprehensive policy and application for awardees. Or 3 other options or preferences from council. Here, we just really need your input and need a decision on how you want to go about using these local A-tax and H-tax funds.
Thank you. Questions or comments for Christine? Yes, Ms. Howard.
So both the local A-tax and H-tax can be, correct me if I'm wrong, they can be held over a year, longer than a year, or do they have to be expended within a certain amount of time?
Oh, I've read that we do not have to spend it
Right. That's what I
within a
thought.
year or 2-year
Okay.
period.
That's what I thought.
That's why we have, yeah.
That's why we have these options.
Yes, ma'am.
Other questions, comments?
Why are we discussing discontinuing the award process?
Okay, yes, so that award, Bryson and I have worked very hard trying to get it all together, organized, and it has been a very cumbersome process. Yes, hi Denise. Okay, yes. It's a very difficult process. So the main thing is the grant awards have been crossing fiscal years, and we've been allowing it to go beyond the award dates on the letters, which is 1 year or 2 for construction projects. And that was only given at the last fiscal year, 2023. So before, they were only supposed to be 1 year, but they were going beyond that. And it's messing with our fiscal year budget and everything
It
else.
is
Go ahead,
interfering
jump
with
in.
our budget process. Had these awards been in line with our fiscal year, it wouldn't be so convoluted. It's kind of convoluted, but that's no excuse. What we really would like to see is this money to go toward county projects that we're like grasping, go find the money, go find the money, go find the match money for these various projects that we can't complete. So it would be nice to use the local A-tax money for county projects. And I'm not talking about in perpetuity, maybe just for a year or 2. I know that the town of Bluffton uses their local A-tax, town of Hilton Head. There are several counties who also use their local A-tax in-house as well, as a funding mechanism whenever they cannot find the funding for certain purposes that are specific for this money.
And also, it's been very difficult to get awardees to submit progress and final reports as required, and submitting proper documentation like invoices, proof of payments. And it's just been a lot of go back and forth and a lot of time and effort on the grant awards.
Yeah, and then they may not complete a project, then they want an extension, and then we have to bring it back, and it is a lot of traffic in that fund, back and forth, and decisions to be made. But we'll do whatever you guys want.
Go ahead, Mr. Dawson.
I understand from your explanation the difficulties that you, staff, finances incurring. But what I don't understand is that some of these businesses rely and depend upon some of these funds to continue their operations and their businesses. So if we withhold it from them for a year or 2 years, I don't get it.
Mr. Dawson, I don't think these are repeat awardees, though. These funds, when we award them out, are for specific projects that are related to tourism, and they really should not supplement their operations. They shouldn't be using local A-tax money to supplement their operations. They should be using them for projects that are specific to tourism and attracting people in to our county.
Okay.
Anybody else?
And just for the public to understand too, the DMOs would still get their funding because our local ordinance says we would give them that money. So this
That's
is,
right,
we're looking
that's
at,
right. The DMOs would still get the funding.
so the chambers, all 3, and, would still get their money from the local, tax money. That we're talking about these special projects, that have been done in the past. I'm just trying to pick one out, not
Yeah,
to
like
pick on
off
anybody.
the top of your
but-
head, and like a lot of them
Yeah.
go without being completed, and they never turn in their paperwork.
Yeah.
And they're taking a very long time to use the money also.
But we could use the money, I think somebody brought this up, like we did one year, to do more work on our boat landings.
Mhm.
There'd be more money available for the boat landings. Okay. Or affordable housing. Okay.
So, one comment from Mr. Dawson is she's talking here about local aid tax, not state.
Okay.
So what's gonna come up at county council later is the state recommendations. This is local. And if you'll indulge me, this has been a rabbit hole I've been going down. John will laugh, Denise will laugh, Tom Kevaney. I've been going down this rabbit hole for 2 months. So I wanna just express my comments. I want to say that, first of all, I appreciate the hard work of the ATAX committee. I get it. They reviewed the applications. This is for state ATAX. And they met with applicants and they listened to the requests and all of that. And I also note there's no shortage of worthy causes, which is what you're talking about, that, come to the county for funds. But that said, I believe county council, I would like us to reconsider the way we allocate our state and local ATAX funds. I really believe we start using our accommodations tax to support our priorities. In other words, it benefits all the people in unincorporated county, and not in the areas within municipalities. Because remember, the municipalities get their own ATAX funds, and I'll show you that in a minute. And they can give awards to whatever they want. My focus would be on unincorporated Beaufort. County council and the voters of this county have spent a lot of time and money preserving the natural beauty of the county. And the focus, that's something that sets us apart from the rest of South Carolina. We spend money on rural and critical lands. We have green space now. And that's a great use of money. I believe we can and should use some of our state and local ATAX money for some of these purposes as well. We've preserved the nature of the Low Country, which makes us a site for tourism. People want to come here and see what we have. Until I visited, I didn't have any idea of South Carolina. I'm from Ohio. So we need to start using our accommodation taxes to support recreational tourism, which we can do. Here's one example, and Ms. Howard just said it. We can put money into our much needed repairs at the boat landings or our parks and rec. Last year, we had a consultant we hired and gave us a full list of the boat landings. And we kind of dropped it. We didn't talk about how to fund it. It's sitting there hanging over our head. And early in the year, Chuck Atkinson brought to us a consultant who told us 10 years of $100 million to fix our parks and rec. And that one kind of is sitting on top of our head. So I think we spent money on those reports. We should look at how to fund them. In 2022, we put in green space. We're the first one in the state. That's great. We should be proud of it. And I think people really believe that's a good expenditure of money. We pay the designated marketing organizations, as Christine said, the DMOs, large sums of state ATAX funds every year to advertise events. Could you go back to the state slide, Sarah? I think it's slide 2. And I believe we should not use remaining funds to do more marketing. We are paying the DMOs money, and you'll see it on there. And the municipalities should support their tourist activities in their boundaries. Again, I'm asking us to discuss how to keep, next slide. There we go. How to keep ATAX funds to support our council priorities in unincorporated Beaufort County. If you look here under the second set of bullets, that's how the state code designates. We have to give 25,000 general fund, 5% general fund, then 30% to the DMOs. That's in the code, so we can't play with that, but the 65% is left to us. So again, I appreciate the committee's hard work because this is coming up at county council meeting, and I can appreciate, I'm not saying any of the groups aren't worthy, but my philosophy is I believe these funds should be kept in unincorporated Beaufort to fund priorities we have. So I hope my other council members will take that into consideration. And as Christine said, if you go to the last slide with the options, there are options. Maybe our finance committee would have to look at those and develop better guidelines. But you can spend these taxes in other ways to benefit the residents of unincorporated Beaufort County. So I'm asking all of our council people to kind of think out of the box. If you look at what's on the agenda later in county council, That's a list of the ones the committee's recommending. If you look back to 21, 22, and 23, you'll see many of the same entities. And the question becomes, is this what our residents would want us to use these taxes for? So with that, Sarah, would you bring up my other document, because this answers Mr. Dawson's question. I said this has sent me down a rabbit hole, so work with me on this. It's really an annoying rabbit hole. You have to blow that up a little. So this was just in the island packet. Beaufort City gave their ATAX awards. Look who they gave. Anything in yellow means that's what our committee's proposing. So there's the DMV for Beaufort, Port Royal Convention Visitors Bureau. And then you see they did a Gullah Festival waterfront, and that's proposed. The next two are proposed by our county committee. The Kinfolk Traveling Theater, they're giving $25,900. We're proposing $30,000. Bluffton's proposing $18,900 on that one too. Then you see South Carolina Low Country. So what's in yellow is what our committee's proposing we give as awards. So you can see just scrolling down. So if you keep going, then there were other ones we didn't support on the bottom there. Okay, that's Beaufort City. Now look at Bluffton. And I had to go dig these out. The only thing in Bluffton, if you look, they're very Bluffton specific, period. And we supported the Gullah Traveling Theater, and we're also purported, they're looking to give them $25,000 for the Gullah Cultural Heritage Center, which Bluffton did not finance. All right, look at Hilton Head. Again, this is state ATAX, not local. Here's Hilton Head. Look how what they do with their state ATAX. And you wouldn't know this unless you are like me, real anal about going to find it. So look what they put in general fund, capital projects, land acquisition. And they announced this at their meeting. I saw it all at their meeting. And then they go to the discretionary. So scroll down a little bit. Everyone you see here is what they're giving them. And then we are in yellow, meaning we are giving as well. So when I say I'd like to keep the funds in unincorporated Beaufort County, some of these would not be eligible under what I'm talking about. And you can see, like, and not to pick any, wait, hold on a second, not to pick any in particular, but the Symphony, scroll back up a minute, they're getting $330,000 from Hilton Head, and we're going to propose to give them $25,000. Okay, you can scroll down, and we can send this all, I can send it to everyone. Those, everywhere that's yellow, we are supporting that as well as Hilton Head. You can keep going. And then these, all that have no yellow, those are Hilton Head. They didn't apply for us or didn't get a recommendation. Okay, keep going down. So they have $4 million, give or take, in state ATAX money. We have 1.5, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, scroll down now. So then they also gave some partial. Hilton Head Land Trust, and then there were some they didn't give money to. So you can scroll further. And there's no yellow, so we're not either. So to Mr. Dawson's question, local ATAX funds, which is what Christine said, consider options. Look what Hilton Head does. They currently use 100% of their local ATAX to support those services in their city. Okay, so it's general fund money. They're not giving it to anybody. And note for fiscal 24, Bluffton uses all their local ATAX to support city functions. They're not giving any away. And last year, Beaufort City used their ATAX funds to put cameras up. So none of them did awards grants. That's what Christine's talking about, taking the awards away. So, and by the way, I noticed local accommodation tax, you can put some for affordable housing, and it doesn't require all that stuff, as Mr. Kevany would say. So then I just had some questions. One, we were remiss not to have 7 members on our committee. We should. We're gonna approve one today. So on our committee, we had 5 members, only 4 were present, and on 6 of these awards, only 3 people voted. And then my question is, you answered this already, if they don't expend the money, do we kind of claw it back? What do we do? And then I noticed Bluffton has a scoring sheet. Do we use one?
For state, I know, Mr. Sullivan, they do have a scoring sheet.
I know they give us a paragraph, have never seen a scoring sheet.
Oh, the scoring sheet?
We get a
Actual
paragraph.
with numbers on it? sure about that.
Okay, so just some thoughts on that.
Okay.
But again, I'm suggesting we look at how to use these funds in unincorporated Beaufort to fund our priorities.
Madam Chair, I have a question,
Mhm.
just so I'm clear. So back, if you scroll back down to Low Country Golf Course Owners Association,
Mhm.
so you're saying that the town of Hilton Head, is that right?
Scroll up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The town of Hilton Head gets $100,000 for Low Country Golf Course owners?
Up farther. That's how much they're giving from their A tax.
Okay.
Not what they're getting, what they're
And
giving.
then, okay, can we go back down?
Up some more.
Wherever that is?
Up.
Oh, go, yes.
Up, 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 up. Keep going to some more
Just so
yellow.
I'm clear in my own.
Okay, stop there.
Okay, so $100,000 goes to Low Country Golf Course Owners Association,
Correct.
right?
From
To
Hilton Head
From
funds.
Hilton Head. And then we, the county, wants to give $7,500 in addition to the $100,000. Is that
Correct.
correct? So you're proposing that we not give the $7,500 to Low Country and keep it in a fund like, Council
Unincorporated
Howard
Beaufort.
said, yeah, to do something else with it.
I'm just asking us to
okay.
have that discussion. I can't propose anything frankly, but.
Okay.
Anyway, I put this together, you can all read it, like Concours d'Elegance, they're funding it to 362, and we're gonna give them 38,000 more. And I understand everybody's got a budget, and everybody's got more money, but the question is, where is the best bang for our buck as a county? So, there you go. Question, comment, somebody else?
I had a comment, I saw some in the attachments, there were some funds that had never been expended.
Yeah.
I think that's another reason to kind of take a deep breath and, if some of them were for construction projects, this never happened.
You wanna show those,
That money's still there,
Sarah?
right? I mean, it's not gone
Money's
anywhere,
still
so
there.
it could be pulled back.
It could be reappropriated, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I
Is there
know
a
our
time
attorneys
limit?
were, our attorneys were redrafting our ordinance as well, but
Oh, yeah.
they'll need guidance from you all before they really draft a good document. Whatever you guys decide to do will need to be conveyed to them, so they could rewrite our
Yeah,
ordinance.
we've started drafting that, and we're circulating it internally, and we can certainly circulate it to council for it to review before we even start the ordinance process. That is, give it first reading and all that, so you guys can have input, and then, once it's the way you want it, we can start the ordinance.
And they're doing that for various reasons, but one of the reasons that really sticks out in my head is the local A-tax part of our ordinance. There's a lot of gray areas in there, and there's no deadlines, there's no specifics like, to submit your annual report to who? It says the county. Well, who at the county? So these entities could be submitting reports to the county, but we have no idea where they're going. So there's a lot of gray areas in that ordinance, and that's the reason that Tom and his staff have taken the time to look through it
And
and
that's
start
good, we appreciate that.
redrafting. Yeah.
If you look at this, you know how we have to give so much of the DMOs in the chambers? They're not listed on the list we get from the Committee for State A-tax. The DMO is, but not the chambers, and they're not listed on there. Why are those
On
like
here,
missing?
because this is just a local, this one right here.
Is it because we have to give it to them?
This is my
By
local,
ordinance, we
and,
This is local.
this is local. These spreadsheets were local. The state, I didn't do that because that was,
Well, I'm looking at the one the committee gave us. There was
Oh,
nothing
okay.
listed for the chamber.
oh, no, they didn't probably list it, but I did,
that?
but we did give the monies to the DMOs.
Okay,
State.
that needs to be on this comprehensive
it's
list, because I look at it, I don't see the chamber on here.
I had one other comment, Madam Chairman. Some of, you said it'd be used only in unincorporated Beaufort County, which I agree, but there are some things, I was looking at the bridge for the Spanish Moss Trail is a good example, of something that benefits, although it's in the city of Beaufort. The city of Beaufort probably would not have had the funds.
They don't have the funds,
No.
right?
So there's some things that are
I know.
gonna cross boundaries.
Have some discretion there as we
Sure.
Right.
move forward with it.
I just presented for discussion, and they put the options up there for discussion. And as we all noted, it's sort of too late now, because the committee met and made recommendations for state A-tax, but local A-tax is a different story, so. All right, any other question, comment? Anybody?
I'm good.
Thank you. All right, thank you,
For the
ladies,
explanation.
appreciate it.
And we're currently receiving applications for the local. And I think we have 14 applications right now, so we would need your guidance whether we need to award or to hold off. So whenever you guys can decide on that, let us know.
But I would like to hold off for FY '25 because I need to create a more robust policy and procedures.
And draft of the ordinance.
Yes.
Make sure we have deadlines in there, who to submit the reports to, because right now, if we award right now for local, it's just, you know, they would have no guidance as to,
So for
we would have nothing to
clarification,
stand on.
the state ATAX, they have a committee, which we saw. Local ATAX does not have a committee, that's at the discretion of the admin.
Administrator.
Just so everybody knows, those are different. So council could say, we're not giving any awards.
Correct.
And Mr. Robinson probably would frown, but.
Right now, the discussion really is about council's options. It's options that you have with these, with our local dollars. It's our job to follow the ordinance as it is present, and if we choose to change that ordinance, update that ordinance, or delay this process at your direction, that's what we'll do.
Yes, Mr. Passman.
This will be all part of our discussion next month as we begin to prepare the budget that we're going to need to move forward this year. So it's very apropos that we do have this discussion, because if there are changes, that's one of the Cs I talked about, change. If there are changes we wish to make, now is the time to make those changes.
So the question I think they're asking, and Mr. Robinson's asking, is what to do with the applications you have right now for local aid tax?
Ma'am.
That's the question on the table.
I would say,
Hold off
hold
to,
them. Do not award anything until council makes the decision as to how it wants to proceed in the future.
anybody else a thought on that?
I actually do. Is there a way we can see a list of the applicants?
Yes.
While we make the decision? I would be inclined, starting out, to do a hybrid approach of starting to reduce the amount that we award while shifting gears and allocating it towards projects here, and then 2025,
Okay.
really have a good scope of what we're doing.
You have off the top of your head how much money the requests amount to? Because it may not even be
The
2.5
14
million.
applicants.
I don't know the amount off the top of my head, but I will also say I've had people calling me, like we extended the deadline for the application. And I told people to hold off until we talk to y'all to figure out how we want to proceed. And so out of those 14, I have other people who haven't applied yet, so I don't know how well that would. So looking at all the ones that I do have in comparison to the people who are still waiting to hear back from us.
Anybody else?
Oh, you don't want that to happen.
Go for it, Mr. Cunningham, go for it.
I'm all for getting our projects done that we've been putting off. I mean, sometimes I see the amount of money we throw out just because somebody sends an application. We have no clue what it goes to, what it's used for when it gets there, and that drives me absolutely insane. So I have no problem with if we start with a hybrid approach, or we put a cap on it, or whatever it is, and we have more stringent requirements to even apply. Just seeing some of those things on there, to be honest, for lack of better words, kind of makes me sick that we even give money to some of those things. But that's just me. So I'm all on board with taking a look at it and seeing how these funds can be better used. With that said, I do not believe we are in the construction business. So I'm not looking to get in the construction business or housing business, but if there is a way we can use those funds for workforce housing for the right program that applies, then that's something that I'd be open to do. But I'm not in the business of using those funds to build it ourselves. We're not in a landlord business. We need less government for us to be more successful.
So again, they want direction on local aid tax because they have applications. Do we want them to hold them? Do we want them to tell them no?
I'll hold them.
I'd hold it until we can make a decision with the rest of county council here.
Okay, hold. Thank you so much.
And I will add the DMOs to that spreadsheet. I understand what you were talking about.
Yeah, because if you look at the spreadsheet, folks, it doesn't have the DMOs on there, so it's really not an accurate accounting of the money we're giving out,
Right.
which is concerning to me. I'm with Mr. Cunningham, some of them made me cringe. Okay, anything else, final comment on ATAX, otherwise I'm gonna move.
Can I just tag one thing real quick?
Sure.
So I always find it interesting, you know, we get stuff from the public all the time. They're like, I can't believe you did this. I can't believe you let this happen. But sometimes public doesn't realize how much stuff really comes across the desk or what doesn't come across our desk because it is below a certain threshold. So unless you go down a rabbit trail, as you said, sometimes that information, it's easy for it to slip by us. And that's why we need to have these conversations and these meetings to see where can we fix some gray area and reel some things in. So kudos to you for taking the time to do that. Retirement must be nice.
I did it before tax season, so I'm good. But really, once you go down, it is a rabbit hole. I've talked to John, Denise, Tom. It's a rabbit hole to go down, and we need to tighten it up a little to benefit our residents.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Item 8, and this is recommend approval for the interim county administrator to enter into a contract with BRICS to provide a unified station alerting system to the tune of $2,318,680.50. And this will be Mr. Hank Edmondson, Special Assistant County Administrator, and Fire Chief Bruce Klein. Okay, it's all yours.
Hello, I'm gonna keep mine pretty short because I'll turn it over to the expert. One of the first projects I believe council heard about, if not the first project, was a unified station alerting system. He'll give some more details on what that means. We've gone through an extensive public posting and RFQ, and then RFP process with multiple providers. We really dug deep on the details in each station and how we can do the best. And we feel like the BRICS presentation is the best with technology, price, warranty, et cetera. And so I'll turn it over to Chief Klein. We also have representatives from Hilton Head and the Sheriff's Department. We've had also somebody from Bluffton Township Fire. We had Phil Foote and then John Robinson on the group as we've gone through all this.
Welcome.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
So if I may, I'm glad I don't have any of this technology to deal with. So Beaufort County's Fire Service has been working on this program for over 4 years. Initially, it was submitted as a capital improvements project, March of 2020. As indicated in your agenda summary, it was the first project submitted to the ARPA task force. And I can tell you that it was the first because I was one of the first members on the ARPA task force, and I've already had to prepare and split it across the table our first meeting. In September of 2020, we formed a project committee and started the RFQ and RFP process. As you can see, it has been an extremely thorough process, and we've done our due diligence. Why do we need a new station alerting system? Currently, we have a fragmented system. Some are using the old pagers, which I am wearing, to alert on-duty and off-duty personnel. Some have an old alerting system that is due for upgrade or replacement, and some are using cell phone technology. That's a fragmented system, which is slowing our overall call processing time and response time to emergencies. The current system is not integrated with our computer-aided dispatch system, our CAD system, and it's a standalone that require additional steps and could have human error in that process. The current systems do not allow station alerting, specific station alerting. And when I'm talking about there is if I have 20 personnel on duty, all 20 have to be alerted when we only really need 4 to respond. And that's day or night. In many cases, we are alerting 20 personnel. It only requires 4. And our system today does not meet current standards. It is not heart-friendly. It is immediate full-strength audio. Waking emergency personnel in full-strength audio results in resting heart to absolute chaos, middle of the night. So enough about our old and what we don't have. What are we proposing? We're proposing a fully integrated system. This system is for fire and EMS, and this system is for unincorporated fire districts, the town of Hilton Head, the city of Beaufort, Beaufort County EMS, and Hilton Head Airport Fire. 38 fire stations in total and 2 dispatch centers. This new system will provide an enhanced level of service to all citizens and visitors to Beaufort County. This system will provide our emergency response personnel with accurate, timely alerting information through a variety of devices, station pagers, cell phones, and so on. This system is fully integrated with our computer-aided dispatch system. And I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but the way it works is when the call taker enters that data into the CAD system, this system automatically takes over and alerts the appropriate station, the appropriate one station instead of 5. And only those people that need to be aware there's a call are awoken in the middle of the night. It is zone specific. It meets current standards to include slowly ramping up of the audio so we don't have from resting heart to chaos. It provides night vision throughout the firehouse. The new NFPA standards focus on the firefighters' health and safety and wellness, and this system meets those standards. The new system will improve response times through streamlined dispatch communications and reliable alerting. Your emergency response personnel deal in seconds, and any second we can reduce could mean the difference in someone's life. In my humble opinion, there are very few things that we, and I say we, all of us, can do for our emergency services that will serve all citizens and visitors to Beaufort County, from one end to the other. This station alerting is one of those systems. Your first responders respectfully request your approval of this. Initial request, and our request is 2.5 million. Though it came in at 2.38, we're hoping to use the remaining for a contingency. It's not quite 10% of the program, but we feel pretty comfortable at 2.5, leaves us roughly $181,000 left to cover any contingencies that may come up during the process. I am prepared to answer any of your questions.
Thank you, Chief. That was really very good. Question? Go
I'd
ahead.
like to make a motion that we recommend this go forward.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, discussion?
I have a question.
Okay.
I know you work with the military all the time. How is this gonna integrate with their system?
So it will not. They have their own system, and that's a tough nut to crack there with the military. Our current system is dispatch notifies Marine Corps Air Station in Parris Island anytime they are in an automatic aid situation or a mutual aid situation.
Okay, thanks.
They have their own radio system. It's completely separate.
Mr. Cunningham?
Yeah, so I have 3 questions, actually. One, you were listing off a couple different towns and municipalities. Is Bluffton a part of that?
Yes.
Okay, so Bluffton is.
Yes. So when I say unincorporated, Bluffton is truly an unincorporated fire district,
Not a problem.
though they're in part of the town too.
What is the setup time to get this active?
So the contract stipulates 1 year, but we
They have
feel
to be set up within 1 year?
yes.
Okay.
From the time we signed the contract, they have 1 year. We think it's going to be much quicker than that.
Okay. And then in here, it states that it's 4 years of service of,
Yes, sir.
I'm guessing if there's any problems, that's 4 years of it. What is the cost after that 4 years is up?
So
And what do we need to do on our end to make sure that that funding is there?
Well, so our plan is, so we work very hard to put as many years of service and maintenance on the front end. Our plan from that point forward is every fire district, EMS, and all the different entities will have 4 years to plan in their budget to pick up the cost. The cost is, starts probably, let's just say 140 something, and it kind of escalates to 153, going off of memory. What will it be at year 5? Probably in the 150, 160 range. It'll be a pro rata share. So if I have 5 firehouses, I will pay my portion.
Right.
And it'll be an individual contract with bricks, not a county contract after the 5 years.
And that gives time for them to build in their millage through the process, so that then we can properly share it as opposed to shocking it in year 1 and making sure that we get all these kinks worked out when we're working together on the front side.
And then my final question is, we're planning on 2 more stations coming in. Are we going to be adding this to those as well?
So-
And has that been figured into this?
So
amount?
negotiations with bricks is basically, and I may use the improper term, this contract will set the stage for any new stations.
Okay.
Establish unit prices.
Unit prices, and so if you add a new station, the cost is on that
And that will go to the
organization.
building costs that we approve?
Yes, sir.
And the good news about the system that we selected is it's the most technologically advanced. It's not a fully hardwired system. It's not causing us to run fiber direct connections to all the stations. It is cloud-based. It is really what is to come in this world. So it's easier to outfit stations, whether they're existing or new.
Sounds
Mr.
great.
Cunningham stole a couple of my questions because, well, I was going to ask, you said 38 stations, so 39 is for Sun City, so that would be included, and then the next one would be included. as
Chief
well.
Boulware is aware that.
So Mr. Cunningham took my questions. Anybody else?
Great minds think alike.
I know, it's great, except for, well, you're younger, but, okay, thank you, Chief. So we have a motion on the floor. We had it seconded, we've discussed. So all in favor of moving this forward?
Aye.
Aye, okay, passed unanimously. Moves to County Council for final approval for February 12th.
Oh, okay.
So Chief, you can plan from there. Okay, item 11.
9 and 10?
I'm sorry, 9 and 10. 9, oh yes. Discussion of response to the RFQ seeking executive search firms from Mr. Kevaney. Go forth.
Good afternoon. So you may recall that probably a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago, you guys authorized the staff to issue an RFQ for search firms, executive search firms to help in the recruitment of a successor county administrator. That RFQ was issued, and I think it closed maybe on last Tuesday. The procurement office has indicated to me that we received 12 responses, which is really good. And so now what council needs to do is to give us some guidance about how you guys want to go about sifting through that and selecting those folks. In the past, I think what we've done in 2017, 18, maybe 19, 17, 18, 19, a subset of council, an ad hoc committee was selected to go through all of these applications and then bring forward to council for their consideration a list of 3 or 4, and then council decided who they wanted to interview. And Councilman Dawson, Councilman Howard, you remember that process. Everybody, all council members participated in the interviews of the search firms that council wanted to interview. So anyway, so that's that.
Comments?
That's a lot of application. That's good.
To hire the firm.
Right.
There's a lot of firms out there that do this, and
Yeah, I was just making sure I understood correctly, that's all.
yes, sir.
Anybody else comment, question?
Yes, I'll make the comment.
Okay.
As chairman, I am allowed to set up a subcommittee, and I am going to do that. There will be 5 people on the committee. I will have 2 from the north, 2 from the south, and myself. The 2 from the north are going to be Alice Howard and David Bartholomew. The 2 from the south are going to be Larry McKellen and Tab Tabernick, and I'm going to be the 5th person. We will then have 3 people that have gone through this process before and 2 brand-new people that could bring a perspective. We will review all 12 of the responses. We will whittle them down to what we believe to be the best 2, 3, 4, whatever, based upon the responses they give us, bring it to council so that council can do the final interview, so we can start the process, so that we can have a full-time county administrator by July 1.
That's good.
Question or comment, discussion for that? Okay, well, you have your marching
Okay.
orders.
Exactly. All right, very good. Number 10, this is a follow-up to the investigations that council initiated last summer. The law firm of Hainsworth Sinkler Boyd was selected by council, and it's been captained by Nick Nicholson of the Greenville office of Hainsworth Sinkler Boyd. They've done a great job. They put a lot of work in to their review. I know that they are moving things along. They've had access to everything since October, direct access to our systems and software. And so there's really been no impediment to their investigations, to the best of my knowledge. I want to say at the beginning of this month, we received a draft procurement code from Mr. Nicholson. Staff met internally to go over that, and then we met with Mr. Nicholson last Thursday and discussed the proposed code with him at some great length. The purchasing director, Mr. Thomas, is here. And then, of course, the CFO, Denise, is here, and they were both involved in the internal meetings and in the meeting with Mr. Nicholson. I understand that Mr. Thomas is forwarding to Mr. Nicholson's staff's comments, following up on the Thursday meeting with everybody, and that Mr. Nicholson will then bring that forward as a proposed code. The thought is that he will bring that proposed code, we will bring that proposed code to you guys for your consideration and hammering out. And then once that is done, we'll start the ordinance process, 3 readings, public hearing, and all that. But we don't even want to bring forward a draft ordinance in the ordinance fashion until there's been a lot of discussion about what the terms are going to be. Because as you'll recall, council had asked Mr. Nicholson to totally redo our existing procurement code because it was initially adopted in 1982. It has been tweaked here and there throughout the years, 40 years, 50 years, however long that is. So thought is to just bring a whole new code forward, and that's what we are in the process of doing. So that's where we are on that. And Mr. Nicholson can come down and appear before council at any time. I think he was here last month. So we don't have any plans for him, I think, right now to come to council in executive session, but that's the kind of thing that we probably need you guys to decide what you want to do.
Well, the procurement code was one thing. What about all the other things? What's their timeline?
Exactly.
I don't think we can go forever on this.
Right. Well, this is the kind of discussion we need for you guys to give us.
I did ask this to be put on this agenda for us to have that discussion. I am going to propose that the final presentation to county council be done on the county council meeting of February 26th. We charged them back in October with 4 specific things. They have spent that time researching them, and therefore it is time for them to give us their findings, their recommendations, their proposals, and any other thing they feel is pertinent to county council at the meeting of February 26th.
And they should not be surprised at all, because when we met with him the last time, we were hoping for the end of the year, and he said couldn't be. So now he's got 2 extra months.
Right.
Anybody else? We need to wrap it up with them.
Yes, yeah. This gives them specificity of exactly what we want based upon what we ask them to do, and have it done by the 26th of February.
All right. I'll get in touch with Mr. Nicholson then. Thank you.
Yes, the public needs to know what they've been doing and where we are. Thank you, Mr. Kavanagh. Any other discussion on that? All right, thank you, everyone. Okay, now I'm on 11. Recommended approval of the appointment of Tommy Harmon Jr. to the Beaufort Memorial Hospital Board of Trustees for a first term of 4 years with an expiration date of 2028, and the reappointment of Eugene Richardson LaBruce to the Beaufort Memorial Hospital Board of Trustees for his second term of 4 years with an expiration date of 2028.
I'd like to make a motion to approve those appointments, and I'd like to add that it was a very intensive interview process for the nomination of Mr. Harmon.
I will make that second.
All right, motioned and second. Anyone have a discussion point? Other than I really don't like the wording with an expiration date of 2028. That sounds like they're going to expire in 2028. Okay, let's take a vote.
This is going to go to county council this evening.
This evening,
Oh,
so
okay.
So this
we're
is a
voting to move
recommendation
it.
to move to county council so that we approve it this evening.
Number 12 as well?
Yeah, it can all go this evening.
Okay, good.
Let's vote on 11. Everyone in favor?
Aye.
There's nothing
Anyone
on
against?
12, right?
All right, it passed unanimously. And 12, you can see there are a number of appointments to boards and commissions, and I'm going to presume everyone's read through them.
Yes.
So moved, Madam Chair.
All right, moved by Mr. Cunningham. Second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Dawson. Discussion, questions?
they're not moving to county council.
These are
tonight.
just approved, right? They're not moving. Question on this one? What I want to point out is, and I noticed this, and probably because I'm new, or I'm not new anymore, I'm a year old.
Right.
But if you notice, there are different votes needed. So like the planning commission, they need 8 yeses out of 11, but Sheldon Fire District needs 10 out of 11. So just be aware of that. All right, so can we have a vote on this one? How many are in favor of this? In
On the
favor?
whole list, or just?
I'd say the whole list, we're not gonna do them
Whole list,
individually, yeah.
whole list.
Well, if there's discussion on any one person, throw it out now.
Let me ask a question then. You just said one needed 10 votes. We only have 9 today.
That's a full council.
That's full council, this
Not a
is,
problem.
yeah, we're just moving it to council for, what date would the meeting be?
February 12th.
February 12th, so it's not tonight. We're recommending moving it to council.
Perfect.
Do you need a motion?
No, we already have a
We have a
motion,
and
anyone
second
against?
To move these,
Yep.
and there, I didn't think there was any objection to
No.
moving these.
No objections? Okay, there, that one moves through council. All right, anything else to come before the finance committee? That fills our agenda. Thank you all, and we will take a break.
Yeah, can I get
Mr.
like 6 or
Cunningham?
7 minutes? Like 3:08?
3:00.
Perfect?
3:10.
3:10's fine, 3:10.
Thank you all.